For whoever needs to hear it, London is for everyone. Whether you were born in Newham or Nigeria, Ealing or India, Richmond or Romania, or anywhere else.
Richmond? How many people do you meet in London who are from Richmond? I'll give you a clue. None. You might as well say Middlesbrough or Mogadishu. There's loads of people from Mogadishu there. People like me, we left. What he means is, it's for everyone who doesn't look and sound like me. Go for a walk around it if you don't believe me.
Or anywhere else in the world. If you live here, you're a Londoner, and this will always be your home.
Not always. What if you blow yourself up at the Borough Market? Scatter yourself across a 2-kilometre area of London? It's not your home then, is it? You're not here anymore. You've just been a massive pain up the arse on your way out though, haven't you?
To many, London is a melting pot. To me, it's an incredible mosaic of different communities, all of whom make a massive contribution to the spirit and soul of our great city.
It's an incredible mosaic of burning tyres, dog shit and knife crime. It's literally the biggest dump in the UK. And if it wasn't for the existence of Paris, which is basically the armpit of Europe, London would be rock bottom because of the policies of woke, illogical, irrational politicians who've been importing fighting age men for 30 years and then working under the insane delusion that the second they get off the plane, boat, out the back of the tomato wagon or leap from the bathtub and the feet touch the floor in England, all of a sudden they'll go, "Hello, governor," put on a top hat and start whistling the soundtrack to Mary Poppins or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. These people are mentally ill. Barbarous, illiterate savages from third world countries who think women shouldn't be able to show their ankles in public don't suddenly become genteel chaps the moment they walk past a Waitrose. Are you mental?
Making us far more than the sum of our parts. In fact, we all make London, from our art and music venues, to our restaurants and shops, from our churches and temples, to our synagogues, gurdwaras and mosques. We simply wouldn't be the
I love the way you put the M1 at the back there. Synagogues. Oh, yeah, the ones that you've built thousands of and funded for the last 10 years. Can't move for them.
We simply wouldn't be the city we are today without the input, energy and experiences of everyone who lives here. You know, contrary to what some might say, our diversity doesn't diminish us, it enriches us, socially, economically and culturally. And we must never, ever forget that.
Listen, right, diversity can never be a strength. If everybody disagreed on everything all of the time, nothing would get done. You need to be in lockstep. If a company of soldiers didn't take orders from one bloke and they all just cracked their own detail and did whatever they liked, they'd all get massacred. Introducing people to Western liberal countries like England who don't think women should be allowed to vote. They're not on board the LGBTQ+IA train. They just aren't. That's not right-wing rhetoric. Go into the Finsbury Park, you know, the M word, and ask the local imam and all of his flock on a Friday night if they're mega on board with watching George Michael and Ricky Martin shaking their ass in leather chaps, and see what they tell you. They'll tell you. They'll be open and honest about it. 95% of these people do not agree with you, and you are living in La La Land.
It's not been easy recently. COVID, a cost of living emergency, conflicts overseas that impact our city's communities.
COVID and things overseas has impacted our living. Yeah, no mention of them blowing up the buses. When people used to say the tube and the bus cost an arm and a leg, they didn't mean because they were getting blasted through the windows at 200 miles an hour. That only became a literal truth since the introduction of a few 100,000 blokes from places where your parents came from.
And forces looking to exploit these crises to stir up resentment, sow division and point the finger.
Stir up resentment and point the finger. Listen, the stirring up of resentment doesn't come from people talking. It comes from them having to bury their children. That's it. Nobody's that charming and charismatic. You can't just turn someone from being a socially liberal, pleasant chap into a full-blown fascist because you whisper a few sentences into his ear. People are getting resentful because they read the newspapers and they read about hundreds of thousands of girls getting rogered more than a copper's radio. Tens of thousands of people becoming victims of yobbos and thugs from third world shitholes. and hundreds of people literally getting murdered by them. That stirs up resentment, not me or Lee Anderson talking a little bit.
Proud to be the mayor of this city is that London never gives in to hate and extremism. We always choose hope over fear and unity over division. We don't denigrate our diversity, we celebrate it. We don't put people down, we lift them up. And when others try to take us backwards, we continue moving forwards, striving for fairness, equality and inclusion. It's Londoners that make our city the greatest in the world.
According to you. It's only according to you. We've started copying the Americans here, the greatest in the world, according to you. Nobody else thinks it's the greatest in the world. None of the schoolgirls who get taken on a summer holiday to visit an aunt in Pakistan and come back from their holidays minus the clitoris because their aunt got to work on the genitals with a sharp stone. Though they don't have a good time and they don't think London's the greatest in the world. They come back with a severe limp and a very sore minge because of psychopaths like you.
London for Everyone campaign with major funding for local community groups and with major London World. That's why we've launched our London for Everyone campaign with major funding for local community groups and organisations. In these difficult times, it's so important that we bring everyone together, remind everyone of the value of our shared ties and experiences, and to ensure that everyone who needs help can receive it, whether it be by welcoming and celebrating fellow Londoners, finding ways to get involved in your community, or receiving help to access the support you need. If you need help or know someone who does, search London for Everyone on london.gov.uk. Please never forget that you belong and are valued in this city. Even with so many difficult things happening in the world, we are and will continue to be neighbours, friends and colleagues. So let's continue looking out for each other and building the fairer, greener, more prosperous London that everyone, regardless of borough, background or birthplace, truly deserves.
Background, birthplace or bombing campaign. So yeah, that was on Sadsack's Twitter today, and yeah, it's a pile of total shite, obviously. He's just trying to rub your noses in it, because Lee Anderson's right and everybody knows it. It's not for everyone, it's for his mates. That's who gets all the funding. I showed you the numbers yesterday. All this funding, this taxpayer funding, it's not going to people who look like you or think like you. It's going to his mates. 22 Bell End-shaped churches got government funding a couple of years back. Hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money. They found ammunition dumps in Finsbury Park, in their place of worship, you might remember. That's who's getting the taxpayers' money. We are in serious trouble when the government is working against the people, and that's where we are. So if you believe any of that, I've got a bridge to sell you. Stay fit, stay focused, fill your garage with as much supplies as you can, and buckle up, because this gets much, much worse before it gets better. All right? But that's just what I think. You think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows because happy words and pleasant piano tones can take away the fact that every day hundreds of unvetted weirdos from third world countries move in, and you think that's not going to cause a problem? You let me know why, because I'd love to hear your reasoning. Anyway, got to do one. I've got work to do. Thanks for listening. See you all very soon. Toodle pip. Cheers.